geometry. I realized it's our second formal lesson and I am gone. I apologize, we have our home cross country meet this afternoon, so if you have nothing going on after school, make your way down to Lincoln Park Drive and come cheer on Central as we host our home meet. But just some quick housekeeping things. Oh no. We'll see here. Okay. That might happen. I'm still kind of working out the kinks with the new updates my computer has had, so if by any chance our notebook file goes down, just hang tight and I'll pull it back up. If you did not understand your homework last night, that's okay. Just hold on to it, and we will go over questions tomorrow. And we're just going to go with it, okay? Be flexible. Take notes. Try your best on your homework, and we'll figure out the rest on Friday when I am back with you, okay? So today we are going to go over what a line segment is. You'll be able to figure out what the betweenness of points are. You'll be able to use algebraic expressions to find measures. And then lastly, we'll finish up with what congruent segments are, okay? So let's just get started here. Maybe. There we go. Okay. So a line segment, what is it? Well, it's just part of a line. So remember, a line goes on for infinity. There's no start and stop with a line, but a line segment, the difference is it has two endpoints. So I can definitely say there's a length to that because it can be measured by those two endpoints. These endpoints are also what we use to name that segment. So if I want to name this segment, it would be segment A, B, and you put a little line segment on top denoting that it is a segment. Or you could go the other way and have it be segment B, A. So the order doesn't matter as long as you use your two endpoints. In geometry, we get very technical with how we write things, so we have to take note of how we would write the measure of segment AB. So if I want to list the measure of segment AB, you would write it as just AB without the little bar on top. I know it gets confusing, but this right here denotes the actual segment, that whole thing. Whereas this would be talking about its length. So I could say AB measures 5 inches. Just a little technicality, it's like capitalizing a letter at the start of every sentence. It's just how we write things, so don't get too bent out of shape. I don't know. What do you guys think? We'll see. Okay, here we go. Find the length of the segment. So pretty self-explanatory. I want to figure out how long segment AB is. So you guys have all used a ruler before, so I'm going to write segment AB is equal to how long it is. Well, I know it's about 42. And if we're given the units, let's use them, millimeters. Right, I can measure how long that segment is. Okay, do the next one unless you beat me to it. Find the length of segment CD. Again, I'm trying to figure out how far is the distance from C to D on this ruler. So the length of CD is equal to 1, and these would be what, fourth, right? A 1/4 inch. 1 1/4 inch. So now this isn't in your notes, but I want you to take a second to look at the screen and decide which point in this diagram is clearly between two others. So let's just decide maybe if it can even be figured out or determined or not. But just take a moment and figure out which point is clearly between two other points. There's a lot of options here. So based on this morning's class, they said we had two kind of like options that were more so than the other two. They thought that C was between B and D. That's pretty fair. And then some folks thought that B was between A and E. So there's one right answer, and it's actually that B is between A and D. But what makes it different? Well, the difference is I know for sure that A, B, and E are on the exact same line. They are collinear, right? Whereas I don't know for certain if C falls on this line or not. It might, but since it's not drawn on there, I can't assume. So for 3 points to have betweenness, they need to be collinear. So it says point M is between points P and Q if and only if P, Q, and M are collinear. So these 3 points, we can clearly tell are on the same line, therefore M is between P and Q. I know that seems obvious, and why do we care? I know it seems like that's kind of pointless to bring up. But if I know M is between those 2 points, I can break up the segment PQ into 2 smaller segments. So I would know that PM, so this chunk right here, plus NQ would give me the whole length of PQ. So again, that's what we're going to write down here. PQ is equal to PM plus NQ. And notice I'm not talking about this segment, I'm talking about their length, so that's why I don't have those bar marks on top. We're just talking about their lengths. So all we did there, just to reiterate, is I broke up my big segment PQ into 2 smaller ones. And I know that together, when I add them, I'll get the same length of PQ. Okay, I know you don't have this diagram in your notes, so if you want to take a second to draw it or squeeze it in somewhere, or not, it's up to you. You do what you want. But it says if Rn is equal to 12 and Rb is equal to 40, find Nb. So you'll find in our class it always helps if you draw a picture and label, because then you'll know exactly what you're looking for. So I'm told that R to N is 12, and that from R to B is 40, and our question that we're being asked is to find what NB equals. So since I don't know what it is, I'm going to call it X. So this one's pretty straightforward, I hope, because if I notice, I have my huge segment RB, so I write RB equals, what 2 things make up RB? Rn plus NB, and now I can fill in blanks. What does RB equal? Well, we're told that it equals 40. What does Rn equal? We're told it equals 12. And I don't know what NB is. We're going to call it X. Now we have a very simple, straightforward equation to solve. How do I get X alone? Subtract 12, subtract 12. 40 minus 12 is 28. So X equals 28, which then we can say that NB equals 28. I don't know the unit, so we can just say 28. Okay, let's try a more intricate problem. Using the same picture, so again, if you want to label and draw a picture, that's awesome. If not, you can just follow along with me. So we're told that if Rn, right here, is equal to 2x, and Nb is equal to 19, then we're given the length of the whole thing. So this whole thing of Rb is equal to 4x plus 1. Find x and Rb. So again, we have all the parts, we just have to find out what x is, okay? So let's start off with our whole. So I know I have Rb. Now what does Rb equal to? Well, it's equal to the 2 parts that make it up, which would be R to N plus our red part, N to B. Now from here, we just substitute in. What does Rb equal? Rb equals 4x plus 1. What does Rn equal? That's this guy right here, 2x. NB, this guy right here. And now we simply just solve. Okay, so I'm going to bring my x's to the same side. Subtract 2x, subtract 2x. So now I have 2x plus 1 is equal to 19. Subtract my 1. Oh no, I knew this would happen. Hang tight, perfect. Minus 1, minus 1. 2x equals 18. Divide out. X equals 9. But now I have to answer the question. It says find x and RB. So now we have to plug back in for RB. So RB equals 4x plus 1. Now we're going to take that 9 and plug it in there. 4 times 9 is 36 plus 1. 36 plus 1 is 37. So RB equals 37. And now what's nice is we can always check, folks, right? Because, let's see here. If I plug in, what's 2 times 9? Well, we know that's 18. 18 plus our 19 gives me 37, and we just found RB to equal 37, so it checks out okay. Let's try another one. Highly recommend drawing a picture on this one. A lot of parts going on. It says if R is between S and T, RT equals 3x minus 7, ST equals 7x plus 5, and RS equals 30. Find x and the length of each segment. So if I don't draw a picture, that's a lot for me to visualize in my head, right? I'm going to mess up some numbers or go wrong somewhere. So take the 3 seconds to draw your little line segment. I promise it's worth the amount of time. So it says R is between S and T, so S, R, T. Now let's label. It says RT is 3x minus 7. And RS equals 30. What else did I miss? Oh, and ST, there it is. And the whole thing from S to T is 7x plus 5. So now we have the exact same problem we just did before, but this time we're asked to find x and the length of every segment. So let's start off with what we know. I know my whole segment is S to T, and if I break it up into its pieces, it's SR plus RT. Now let's plug in. What does ST equal? Well, that is our 7x plus 5. What is SR? Well, we're told that that was our 30. And our RT, 3x minus 7. Now let's add our like terms. So I'm left with 7x plus 5 on the left. 30 minus 7 gives me 23 plus 3x. I'm going to subtract my 3x over minus 3x. So 4x plus 5 equals 23. Bring over my 5. 4x equals 18. Divide by 4. X equals 4.5. Yes, we got a decimal. That's okay. Life isn't always perfect. Decimals are fine answers. So we just found the length of x. Now find the length of each segment. So now we just simply plug in. So give me 2 seconds here, kids. Okay. So we already have that SR is 30. That was given to us. Let's find RT. So I'm going to have 3, plug in our x, 4.5, minus 7, take a minute to compute that number real quick. 3 times 4.5 is 13.5. Minus 7 gives us 6.5. And then let's see here. ST, we got to figure out what that is. 7, plug in for x, 4.5 plus 5. 7 times 4.5 gives us 31.5. Plus 5 gives us a total of 36.5. Again, folks, we can check. What are my two smaller pieces? 30, and we just found out that this was 6.5. So 30 plus 6.5 gives me 36.5. And look at there, kids, that's what we wanted. We found that this was 36.5. So everything is good in the world. It all checks out. Okay. Then the last thing we need to talk about is congruent segments. Let's let the board think. Perfect. Okay. So congruent segments are segments that have the same length. So they have the exact same measure. If you were just given a picture in your book for a problem, and you saw these little tick marks or these slash marks, I use those words interchangeably, that would tell me right away that AB is congruent to CD, that they are the exact same length. Everyone knows that this is an equal sign, right? Its cousin is the congruent symbol, and the only thing that's different is there's that little, I don't even know what you want to call that. I can't think right now. A tilde or whatever it is in Spanish. Just a little wave on top, right? That would give you the congruent symbol. And then down here, just something to note. So if I have equal measures, so if I was just given AB has the same measure as CD, then I can say segment AB is congruent to segment CD. Oops, I didn't want that. It needs to be straight. Just like that. So their measures are equal. The actual segments are congruent. Okay? I know that wasn't the most pretty lesson, and I'm so sorry this is happening day 2 of our notes. But I hope it went okay. Here's your homework. Try your best. Help each other out. Behave for the sub. I shouldn't come back to any bad reports. You guys are an enriched class. Behavior should be not an issue. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.